Hi everyone, Nathan here again with another TrueTech troubleshooting tutorial. Today in Adobe LiveCycle we want to present an advanced look at master pages and some of the more interesting features that you can use in your forms. So I have a sample form pulled up here where I have two different master pages, and immediately you can see that the size of the pages is different, and this is one of the more useful advanced features of LiveCycle master pages, because you can set orientation and also page size at design time to restrict the size of your pages, because master pages allow you to utilize different size pages depending on what your needs are, so that you're not forced into whatever you choose at the beginning, such as 8.5 by 11 letter size. And so here's how we do this. In the master page tab, when we click there, we see up here in the hierarchy at the top, the master pages, page number 1, which represents this page here. Under the object tab on the right, we have a paper type, and here we've chosen, instead of using any of these standard sizes, we've chosen custom, and then we've chosen to put in these fields 6 inch by 6 inch, and of course landscape orientation or portrait orientation doesn't matter when height and width are the same. But if we were to change this to 10 inches and then we toggle this button, you would see the orientation switch. So for now, 6 inches on a side. And then in our second page, page 2, orientation is a default orientation, which in this case would be 8.5 by 11 letter size, which would be this one. So this allows you to have multiple pages in a form that have different sizes, and this can be very useful if you're using Adobe LiveCycle to make some kind of custom signage, or maybe you're utilizing the barcodes to make some kind of price tags in LiveCycle. A lot of different applications could be achieved by utilizing this feature. Next thing to see in this form is on page 2 of the master pages, I've got some objects outside of the content area. So the content area is defined as where in the design view the user is allowed to place objects. And outside of that area we can still place objects in our master page, but these objects will essentially be frozen at design time and not be available to customize. So our page 2 template has a page number object here, and it has a customer name, social security number here. And we're going to show why that's important later. And then we have a regular body, 7.5 by 9 and a fraction, and this is going to allow us to put objects at design time in here different each time we use this page. So if we switch back to design view, in our first page called main, I've put some objects, a simple form that asks for name, address, date of birth, social security number, and a remarks field, and we filled that page up with those objects. And then in the second page we've got just an area of sample text, and when we run this form, I want to show how this works. So if we were to fill out this form, as you can see, we have the view set at 100%, so it's only 6 by 6, and it allows us to do what Adobe LiveCycle normally allows a user to do. On the second page, if we switch to it, after we've started to fill things out, these two objects that were in the upper part of the master page have data filled in them. And that's one of the more advanced features that we have. If I were to change the name here and then scroll back down to page 2, that field is changed. And so a master page can be editable at runtime or customized at runtime, but if we were to utilize a second page using master page 2, those names that we put would repeat on every other page after that. The only thing that would change per page would be this page number. So how did we do this? Well, if we go back to master page and look at the customer name field, and we look at the code behind it, in the layout ready event, all we did was say the value of this field becomes the value of TXT customer field on the main page of the form. which would be this object here. So whatever value's there becomes the value of our master page customer name. And this is useful if you have a multiple page document where the possibility might happen that the pages get separated if they're not stapled, and you want to have information at the top header of whose information this is, so that it's easier to keep things together. This happens a lot in forms. And so those values, the same thing happens with the Social Security number. Those values are carried over by using just a little bit of JavaScript. But you also saw in our preview that the Social Security number came in, but it came in unformatted. And I was just going to show you very quickly why that is. So when we do that and click off of it, we have the Social Security formatting with 2 dashes there and there, but then on our second page, no formatting. And the reason it isn't doing that is because in our script we're using raw value. If we change that to formatted value and then run the form, it should come in correctly. So the dashes are there, and now the dashes are there. Just a quick little gotcha on something like that in JavaScript. Now I want to quickly talk about form flow. A prerequisite for this portion of the video might be going back and watching the form flow video. If your document is flowed and your objects are allowed to grow, such as this remarks object with the expand to fit checkbox checked for height, if the customer types too much data to fit in here, this is going to expand to fit. The problem is we don't want to flow this into the next master page. We want it to flow into another page that's the same size as this page here. And so one of the things we have to be careful of when we're designing master pages and then basing design pages on those master pages is how the flow is going to happen. So here I've chosen my main page and I've gone to the object. And if I go to Pagination tab, this gives me some control over what happens if the form flows to another page. There is no overflow set for right now, and so I want to set that, and I want to go to Content Area 1. What I'm telling it is that if all this stuff gets pushed to another page, I want to stay on this master page, the one that's 6 by 6. I don't want to go to page 2. So then when we preview the form and put in some sample text, and we click off of the text field, now we have a second page of master page 1 that contains the overflow of the data in our remarks field and also the bottom website address. And then we still get our other master page now listed as page 3 with the customer name, Social Security number, and the sample text that was included in the second master page. So it's very important to understand form flow. If you don't understand how I set up the form flow in this document, you need to go back to the other video entitled Form Flow in Adobe LiveCycle and closely watch that video on how to do that. So hopefully you learned some things about master pages that you didn't know, and it can be useful in helping you build better forms. Remember to check out the website truetechtroubleshooting.blogspot.com. Also, please subscribe to our YouTube page so that when updates and new videos come out, you'll be notified of them. Thank you all for all the comments and questions. Keep those coming. And remember that IT problems are usually simple, but they're never easy. We'll see you next time.